assets. If you saw Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, he was at Davos recently, in an interview, they asked him about crypto, and he said, the minute we're allowed to be in crypto, we will be there. We will be there in payments. That's their number one focus. So he's ready to go. Same with BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon, I saw the head of their ETF business recently. I asked him what they were doing on custody, and he said, the minute we're allowed to do custody without getting in trouble with a bank regulator, we're already ready. We have it all programmed, we're ready to go. So.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be diving into some developments on the XRPL that are going to scale institutional DeFi and bring massive amounts of utility to the digital asset XRP. Before we jump into that, we're going to be diving through some documents, showing you guys some perspectives from some of the world's largest regulatory bodies and industry-leading experts, showing you guys for a fact that DeFi is something that you should all be paying attention to. In previous video breakdowns, we have shown you guys physical proof that they are starting to incorporate this into teaching it at universities, which just goes to show why you guys should be paying attention to this in detail right now in the moment while these things are unfolding before our very eyes, getting educated on how to start earning and generating yield and passive rewards on your digital assets. So in a nutshell, we're going to be diving into multiple different documents today. If you guys enjoy today's video breakdown, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. I really want to thoroughly read through this February 25th, 2025 fundamental report from Ripple, institutional DeFi on the XRP ledger. We will come back to this in full circle. And one of the primary highlights I want you guys to take away from this as we go through the documents that I have to share with you guys today and the fundamentals. It says here that XRPL is evolving with new features that bring greater compliance functions, expanding lending, and more ways to build on-chain financial products. These changes will enable institutions to meet regulatory requirements, offer new lending options, and give developers more flexibility to build and deploy financial applications. You guys remember in a previous video breakdown, I mentioned that industry-leading expert from a large financial institution mentioning that smart money will not leave the ability to lend and borrow against their digital assets on the table.
Yeah, there's really no digitization, blockchain or otherwise. And so I think it's only a matter of time until you can perform those other functions, lend, borrow, provide liquidity to facilitate trading, these types of things, which also enhance your returns. Yeah. Right. So by making it composable, now you can actually boost your return on top in a fundamental way. Yeah. And so I don't think, smart money is going to leave that on the table once they understand the mechanics.
And now we're starting to see all these developments unfold. So I want to take you back here. This is from a panel discussion that took place, a video breakdown that I posted on February 28th, where this gentleman goes on to mention that 16 regulated banks have exposure to earning yield on their digital assets through staking services. You all need to understand that right now there is no excuse for ignorance. You're going to come across a multitude of individuals that think that DeFi is a scam, that you shouldn't be paying attention to it, and that you should not educate yourself on it. At a minimum, I personally suggest that you guys get educated. You do not need to risk or expose yourself to DeFi volatility or impermanent loss, or expose your cryptocurrency assets to the DeFi niche in order to learn about it, to watch a video, to read a document, to watch a panel discussion, to take a mentorship program. You do not need to expose or risk your capital to do such a thing. But I highly suggest you guys get educated based off of exactly what I'm going to show you guys in today's video breakdown and what I've shared with you on previous video breakdowns. These people are telling you this on stage. They're incorporating this teaching into universities, and some of the world's largest organizations are expressing to you guys that they are coming to DeFi. Turning your idle digital assets into yield-generating assets is the new wave. Learn, educate yourself on DeFi so that way when regulations are clear, which I'm going to show you guys, they are going to become more clear as time progresses, you can comfortably deploy into DeFi and start earning yield effectively with different yield-bearing strategies. Take a second and listen to what this gentleman has to say.
Approximately 25% of Lido staked ETH is currently held by institutions, whether it's crypto-native institutions or regulated institutions or what have you. So this is about 2 million ETH in total. So Lido staked ETH is basically the de facto blue chip institutional asset for native staking rewards, bar none. And you can see this because players like Liquid Collective haven't had much traction in the market by creating this narrative that there needs to be a sort of, counterparty to face, because again, staking is so different. It doesn't really have any parallels. And I think institutions that wise up to this reality have already understood this and have already begun using staked ETH, whether it's as collateral on exchanges, whether it's as part of a stack of products that structured product issuers can issue, whether it's as a suite of staking solutions that a qualified custodian can offer. Like Taurus, for example, in Switzerland, offers access to staked ETH to 16 regulated banks around the world. So in my experience anyway, staking is something new, and I think institutions are wisening up to this, and they're using just the asset that's available. And eventually, hopefully, they'll jump on board with ETHify as well.
16 regulated banks are currently in the process of staking, and he's specifically talking about ETH. But do you guys remember the gentleman sitting on stage that mentioned that DeFi brought utility to ETH
years ago? DeFi actually brought utility to ETH, right? Now, if you're holding ETH, you can lend it, you can borrow, you can stake, you can do so many things.
Keep that all in mind once we full circle back to the fundamental piece from Ripple talking about DeFi on the XRPL, okay? These institutions are for a fact coming. XRPL is going to provide a clear, compliant, regulated environment for these financial institutions to participate in DeFi. I want to take you guys over to show you all that regulations are happening behind the scenes. This is a fundamental piece from the SFC. The SFC is a regulator in Hong Kong. If you come over here directly at the bottom of their website, it says the SFC is the only Hong Kong financial regulator given the mandate to educate the investing public, right? Keep that in mind as I thoroughly read through this fundamental piece that they just delivered in February, talking about lending, borrowing, and staking. So we're going to come over here to this fundamental piece that they delivered just a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to thoroughly read through it. So this is from the Securities and Futures Commission from Hong Kong, 19th of February, 2025. And if we scroll right down here to just a couple of key highlights that I have, nothing extremely lengthy. It simply says, the SFC will explore the provision of staking services within the regulated ecosystem supported by technical and custodial safeguards. The SFC will explore the provision of staking services within the regulated ecosystem supported by the technical and custodial safeguards. And do you remember what an individual representative on stage from a large digital asset investment firm said about banks saying that they're going to enter in this space as soon as regulations are clear?
If you saw Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, he was at Davos recently. In an interview, they asked him about crypto, and he said, the minute we're allowed to be in crypto, we will be there. We will be there in payments. That's their number one focus. So he's ready to go. Same with BNY Mellon. BNY Mellon, I saw the head of their ETF business recently. I asked him what they were doing on custody, and he said, the minute we're allowed to do custody without getting in trouble with the bank regulator, we're already ready. We have it all programmed, we're ready to go. So
this piece continues to go on and read. Through this initiative, investors can participate in a core function of virtual assets while benefiting from yield generation, which are unparalleled in the TradFi markets. They're literally telling you all in their documents from a regulatory body that yield generation in digital assets is so much better than TradFi markets. The SFC will also consider allowing borrowing and lending activities for PIs, again, under robust risk management measures. This will involve diving into how collateral is handled and how the relevant risks are assessed and mitigated. By ensuring that these activities are conducted in accordance with appropriate risk management and safeguards, we could enhance the utility and liquidity of virtual assets. This is coming directly from a regulator. So exactly what we have been telling you guys in previous video breakdowns, that DeFi brings utility to digital assets. Smash that thumbs up button and subscribe, y'all. I knew that we were onto something, and we've been telling you guys this for literally over a year now. This allows experienced market participants to engage in more diverse trading strategies and provides investors with the opportunity to earn stable rewards on their holdings. Do you see that right there? So do not fade DeFi, ladies and gentlemen. This space will be regulated and things are evolving at a rapid pace. And again, once we get into the document from Ripple, you're going to continue to see that the XRPL and XRP is going to play a massive role in facilitating institutional grade DeFi, right? So now let's continue down the rabbit hole. Hopefully you guys are enjoying today's video breakdown. I'm always trying to bring you all the realist perspectives, right? No bullish moonboy hopium or hype here, just real research. Let's head over to the INATBA, or the International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, because they just posted this on their LinkedIn profile 1 week ago. Redefining learning, key takeaways from the INATBA's workshop for the digital age. Education is at a turning point. AI, blockchain, and emerging technologies are reshaping how we teach and learn. And they put out this fundamental piece. But before we get into this document that they published, I want to show you guys that Ripple is a member of the INATBA. This was posted by Marjan Delatine, who is an ex-Ripple representative from Ripple 5 years ago, of Brad Garlinghouse, mentioning that they are a member of the INATBA. Keep that in mind, again, as we progress moving forward. So here is the document from the INATBA, whom Ripple is, again, an associating member of. Key takeaways from the Redefining Learning workshop from February 2025. This is just me here in an attempt to continue to show you guys that large organizations are incorporating learning and earning at the same exact time into their digital asset strategies and their digital transformation approach. So takeaway number 1, it says how emerging technologies are reshaping education. Emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and virtual realities are transforming education by making learning more student-centered and decentralized. AI tools like ChatGPT are already helping students with revision, critical thinking, and creativity. Blockchain and decentralized platforms enable students to take ownership of their learning and create verifiable digital credentials. Then takeaway number 2 says technologies like AI and blockchain shift the power from institutions to students, allowing them to control their own educational paths. Decentralized platforms can offer a more flexible, peer-driven learning model. With decentralized learning, students can take control of their own learning and be creators of their own future. It's not just about plagiarism. These technologies allow students to be more efficient, transparent, and creative. Key takeaway number 3 talks about a vision and leadership and how it's critical for successful implementation of digital transformation in education. And then last but not least, to solidify all this, it talks about the rise of tokenized learning and gamification. Tokenized incentives, learn to earn, and teach to earn, peer review to earn, can enhance engagement in online education. Blockchain can enable micro-credentialing, where students earn tokens for learning achievements. Passing a lesson can earn you a certain token that can later reap rewards. This can be financial or non-financial, but it is massive in its motivation for self-regulated learning. This is exponential, people. This just goes to prove my point that not only are institutions going to be incorporating this DeFi, earning yield, passive rewards, but in our society in general, through our school systems and our learning process, they are also going to incorporate this, which is, again, why I encourage you guys so much to take it upon yourself to start doing research, whether that's you tap in with us here at CYPRXtrading.com and the Wealth 28 Club to learn about DeFi, you take our DeFi University, or you just go out there and start reading documents and listening to panel discussions yourselves. I cannot stress enough that now is the time to start learning, to start implementing these things into your educational process, so that way you do not risk being left behind. Interestingly enough, I mentioned that Ripple is a member of the INATBA. And if we come over here, we can see individual representatives from Ripple. Adelia Tortman, as an example, has recently posted about institutional grade DeFi and, different panel discussions that they've been on recently, talking about exactly that. Here you can see other Ripple representatives like Eric V. Here's Odelia right there. This is at an XRPL Commons event that took place, and you can see some of the key takeaways. They talked about institutional DeFi fundamentals and architecture, practical applications and real-world use cases, implementation strategies and operational considerations, and why institutional DeFi matters, right? And this is all information that the mainstream media is never going to bring to your attention. So now that you guys have seen regulated financial institutions, over 16 of them, as that gentleman mentioned in the previous video breakdown, are participating in staking. We have regulatory bodies like the SFC from Hong Kong talking about how they are going to revise looking at lending, borrowing, and staking from an institutional perspective to allow individual participants to start to generate yield on their digital assets. We've also now seen that they're incorporating this stuff into the learning process. Now that you guys have a perspective on how in-depth this is, you will most likely want to listen a little bit more in detail as to what it is this report from Ripple had to say about institutional DeFi. So to finish this off, February 25th, 2025, institutional DeFi on the XRPL, what's live and what's next. Institutional adoption of blockchain-powered finance has accelerated in the past year with tokenized real-world assets, stablecoins, and decentralized liquidity markets as a major driver of growth. The XRP ledger meets this challenge head-on, building on its core strength and native DEX. Low fees, rapid settlement times, and compliance-friendly architecture to create an advanced institutional DeFi ecosystem. This fundamental piece gets me so hyped because, again, we've been trying to tell people that DeFi is going to bring utility to XRP. While this blog highlights several of the newest features live on the XRP ledger, they build upon core functionalities that have been supporting financial use cases for over a decade. The move towards a more automated and integrated system within the XRPL's native decentralized exchange, or DEX, is designed to facilitate greater institutional participation by ensuring constant liquidity and minimal slippage. The XRPL is one of the most mature and robust blockchains for institutional DeFi, with over 2.8 billion transactions having been processed to date. The XRPL continues to move from strength to strength. Then if we continue to read on and we scroll right down here, it says, this is the part that I read at the beginning, XRPL has evolved with new features that bring greater compliance functions, expanding lending, and more ways to build on-chain financial products. These changes will enable institutions to meet regulatory requirements, offering new lending options and giving developers more flexibility to build and deploy financial applications. And you can kind of see here their roadmap for all of this, okay? Q2, it's coming. Q3, more things like the lending protocol, and then Q4 as well with the TBA. Then to finish this off, it says, the credentials and the DID give rise to two additional features, the permission domains and the permission DEX. The permission domain allow entities such as financial institutions to establish environments on the XRPL that require specific credentials for access. Building upon this, the permission DEX extends the XRPL's native DEX to operate within these controlled domains, ensuring that only accounts with valid credentials can create or fill orders. This approach I have highlighted in green allows institutions to engage in decentralized trading while adhering to regulatory requirements. Keeping in mind what the individual lady said on stage about institutions, once regulations are clear, are coming into this digital asset ecosystem. And you can see here that the XRPL is in an attempt to onboard institutions into DeFi. We already know regulators are on board. We already know current banks are on board. And now you all can see that the infrastructure, the foundation is being laid right before our very eyes. And the XRP ledger and XRP, the digital asset, is going to facilitate a massive role in all of this. To finish all this off, it says, as tokenization and decentralized finance continue to evolve, XRPL is positioning itself as a leader in regulated on-chain finance with deep liquidity, compliance, friendly features, and a seamless institutional integration. The next phase of institutional DeFi will be built on the XRPL. So with all of this in mind, now is the time to get involved in educating yourself on DeFi, what it is, how to utilize an AMM, how to dabble in the liquidity pools, how to lend, how to borrow against your digital assets. And you can do all of that through just a simple educational process. You do not need to go out there and expose your hard-earned crypto to DeFi in this niche to get educated, to watch a video, to read an educational or fundamental breakdown, or just to get involved with a like-minded community. Now is the time to learn, to get involved, and to get engaged, and to understand what is happening behind the scenes. We are going through a massive financial transformation. For anybody to think that this is not happening and is not going to happen in a regulated environment in the future moving forward is ignorant and is fading their own educational process and risks falling behind. As always, many blessings to you guys. If you all want to tap in with us here in the private CYPRX community, creating content curated for you all to see how we are participating in AMMs right now, earning passive rewards on our digital assets, you guys can head over to CYPRXtrading.com. You can tap in, you can learn about the process. Again, you don't have to deploy in order to get educated. With that being said, I'll see you all in the next video breakdown.